Welcome back. Today we're finally getting a chance to do a walk around and review of our new vehicle, which is the 2016 Ford Transit Connect. It's the XLT model with an extended wheelbase. I picked this particular model out because I wasn't looking for a full-size van. I was looking for something more like a minivan. I mentioned in another vehicle I was using a PT Cruiser with the seats removed in the back to give me more space. And while it did fit the bill, the car just wasn't very reliable, mechanically sound, and I just needed to get it out of my life. It was just too much effort to keep it on the road. In fact, this last February the inspection was due on it and it wouldn't pass, and that is actually the second time that I've had the vehicle that it wouldn't pass inspection. And I can't keep spending thousands of dollars on it every time I need to get it to pass, which is just ridiculous. I did buy it used, so that's kind of my own fault for getting into that mess. And I didn't really have the money for a newer vehicle when I bought it, so that's why I went that route. But here it is now, 2016, and I'm finally able to get a newer vehicle, so I just bit the bullet and bought a new car. I didn't go with a regular car because wanting to get this business off the ground, I figured it would just make more sense just to get something to, like I said, fit that bill. So we're going to go outside and take a look at the vehicle. I was actually going to custom order one. I had gone on Ford's website and played with the different options that were available for it and found that for everything that was offered, there was a certain set that I wanted. For example, they have an XL model and an XLT. Of course, by the way, we're talking about the cargo van. They also have a wagon which has seats. Since I had the seats out of the PT Cruiser, I decided not to get one with seats. A cargo van makes more sense. And this is also something right now that's a daily driver, so I wanted to have as many nice amenities to it as possible without breaking the budget. So with that being said, we're going to go take a look at it. I actually just picked this back up from the dealership yesterday. Little story about that. Last Saturday, I priced the thing up, talked to the dealer, found what they had available at another dealership. They did the trade for me and got a vehicle that was very, very close to what I initially wanted. They had it transported to their dealership. I picked it up the following Monday, signed all the paperwork, drove it home, had it all week, and then I dropped it back off on Friday so they could do the upfitting, put the shelving, the racking, and all that great stuff. Also did the hitch and a variety of other accessories, which I'll point out. And I picked it up yesterday, and everything so far is so good. I will mention some things about the upfitting package once I get out to the vehicle, but at any rate, let's get out there and take a look at it. And here it is. Now, this particular vehicle had to have commercial plates on it because there's no rear windows or side windows or back seats, and here in New York that requires commercial plates. A couple little features you could see that we have on it. The XLT model has the front molded body. The front bumpers are the same color as the car, as opposed to being the default black color, which you could see some of the bumper is. I do like the style of this car. It has a very European look to it. I had from the factory, or from the dealership, rain guards put on it, mud flaps put on it, which you can see up here, front and rear mud flaps, just to give it a little bit of aesthetics. I do plan on putting a hood protector on the front of it. I'm going to leave all the specs in the description as far as how much horsepower it has, the size of the engine. I can tell you it's an inline 4 2.5 liter. I decided not to get the EcoBoost engine because it has to run on 93 octane gas, and I didn't feel like spending the money on it, honestly. Little thing I'll point out, which I thought was interesting, there's no gas cap in this car. It has a little flap that opens up when you stick the nozzle in it. I did want aluminum rims, but it was not really easily available to me. I would have to pick another model that compromised in some of the things I didn't want, and it had a lot of the things I wanted and some of the things I didn't want, I should say. For example, one of the things I was looking for was the extended mirrors, which are just a little bit taller for towing. But apparently there's only 3 of them in the country right now that exist, and none of them were near this area. And I didn't want to wait months and months and months to get the custom model. Besides which, I couldn't really wait months and months to get the custom model. I'm going to do lettering on it right now. I just have my stickers on the side of it. And actually, let me crack this thing open here and show you the inside of it. It does have the dual doors on it. This is the master racks and bins system. One side has the 3 drawer shelves. There's dividers up in the top, and on this side, which I'll show you in just a moment, there are just shelving right now. I did get a partition, just a simple wire partition. I could have went solid, but you know, I didn't want to go too crazy with all these accessories because this is worked into the price of the car, and I am on a budget with this thing, so you know, it was kind of a back and forth thing between solid, you know, mesh and whatnot, but I did want something there for sure. Right now I just have a milk crate tied up here just to store stuff in. Actually, I picked up this fire extinguisher today because I felt it would be a great idea to have one of these mounted in here. Probably going to put it on that spot right there. If I show you, there is a, you know, standard cargo light up here in the corner. They have the option for an LED light, but I'm actually going to mount LED lights in this thing, probably a strip right along the middle. When this thing came back from the upfitters, they actually took out the styrofoam blocks that were up along here, but you know, they're not really needed, so it's not a big deal. Up on the top, you can see I do have a master rack utility rack. Again, I opted for that as opposed to a standard ladder rack because I might not be carrying just ladders. Doing the computers and electronics work, you know, a ladder might not be the first tool I'm going to grab, and if I do, I have one of those like gorilla ladders, or you know, that extend and turn into an A-frame, and you know, they're kind of like a transforming ladder. So I'm going to just more or less store that inside, but that was for, you know, throwing maybe a piece of plywood or whatever I need on top, because after all, I do general repairs too. Looking at it from the back, you can see I do have the hitch. It does have a rear view camera and the rear sensing system, and again, just stuck magnets on it. This does have the doors that you can push the little button on and get it to swing open the complete 180 degrees, which is kind of hard to do one-handed. And I opted for that instead of a lift gate because after using the lift gate in the PT Cruiser, it was kind of a nuisance. On this side, you can see there's just the shelves and again the dividers on top. Behind here, which you might not be able to see, but there is a 12-volt power point, which is kind of buried now, but that's fine because right now I just have a 175 watt power inverter just sitting down here plugged into it. Behind that access point is where they put the hitch, you know, the tow package wiring. Some of these vehicles, if you have the upfitter package or the taxi package, there's an extra fuse box back here. On the other side there is the jack, which again you can't get to, so the jack's actually been removed from there, and I currently have it behind the driver's seat. This is again a master rack system. It has this nice little locking piece on here. All the drawers do have organizers on them. The thing I will point out is the dealer didn't install these. There was another upfitting company that did it, and unfortunately it seems like they forgot some pieces, and I've already emailed the dealer. I'm going back and forth with the them and the installer, but there should be a set of triple hooks back here on both sides, so one there and one here, and then up here in this divider you can see there's these little slits. This is actually meant to have a piece of plastic or metal slip into, and you can actually divide these off on both sides. And there's also supposed to be plastic bins that fit on this shelf, I think 4 across. So I'm going to find out, you know, either why I didn't get those, or if I'm not supposed to get them, how much they're going to cost to buy them, because that would be useful because I can hang extension cords back here and stuff. I do believe I'm owed them, but you know, I'll have to wait for the installer to come back to me and tell me what the story is. So that's something to note. Now, I do have a lot of intentions with this thing. For example, I want to put possibly put a second battery back here and use that to power all the electronics I want to put in this thing. For example, that's only a 175 watt power inverter. I want to get something that can handle maybe 1500 watts, which requires a lot of juice from the battery. I'd also like to put a little air compressor system in here for maybe blowing out computers or electronics equipment, stuff like that. So that's some ideas that I have, plus the LED lighting and a couple other little gizmos. So this is basically the idea, what you can get from the back here. Again, I'll leave the description below. We'll have all the specs and how much space you can actually get in this thing. Like I mentioned, this is the extended wheelbase. I opted for that because I wanted as much room as possible. You know, the doors slide really nice. You know, what do you expect? It's a brand new vehicle. Everything's going to be really nice on it for now, but as long as it's properly maintained. Now, there is a couple little things about this I'll point out. For example, there's a lot of wasted space back here. So if you are smart, you can find things to stick back there. For example, you know, everyone has a snow broom. That'd be a good place to stick that thing. Or you can possibly put, you know, like an emergency triangle or a first aid kit, or, you know, there's a variety of different things that you can utilize this space for. Like I said, I'm probably going to mount the fire extinguisher right over here or in here someplace. And again, you know, you can utilize this. You can put, you know, just tie like lightweight stuff to it if you need to. Ultimately, this is going to be a rolling workshop. I want to have all the tools I need for any kind of computer or electronics repair right here in this van, ready to go at any time. So I'll have, like, you know, spools of Cat 5 wire in here, networking kind of stuff like that, crimp tools. You know, I can go on endlessly with all the different stuff I'm going to do with this thing. But that'll be subjects for other videos as I get those things in my hands and in this van. Take a quick look at the front inside here. Now, I want to say this thing is actually based off of the Ford Fusion. So the 6-speed transmission, the engine, you know, the way it looks inside here, it's got the sync package, as you can see in the steering wheel. It's got the voice activated here and all that other fun stuff. It's actually really nice. You do have to speak slowly and enunciate your words. Sometimes she doesn't really understand what you're saying, but for the most part, it works really well. It just has the basic climate control. You know, some of these units you can actually get, I believe the wagons, I should say, have the dual temperature control, and you can actually tell the computer, you know, speak what temperature you want to set at, and, you know, a little beyond what I actually needed for this particular vehicle, because it is a work vehicle and it is a daily driver vehicle, so I needed to have, you know, a little bit of both of those things. Of course, there's no rear view mirror, which did take a little while getting used to. This is the console area up here. There's no switches in it right now, but you would actually have, you know, like in the wagon, I believe the switches here for the power window in the back and all the other, you know, nifty stuff. I actually have a button remote here for the garage door at my parents' house. Instead of clipping it to the visor, I just Velcroed it up here because that made more sense. And speaking of that, up above the driver and passenger seat, there actually is a nice little utility shelf up here. You can put things like gloves and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Of course, you have your standard, you know, visors, which are freaking huge. I do like that it has a little paper holder here, I guess you can call it. But they are pretty big. They also slide, so if you have them in the side window, you can slide them in and out. There's also these slits, so you can kind of see what you got going up there, which is nice. I know I'm pointing out all the little silly things in it, but these are all things I looked at when I picked it up and thought it was kind of neat. The passenger seat here, let's see if I can switch hands here, actually folds down. The headrest is up, so it's not going to go all the way, but you could use the back of this as a work surface, or if you're, you know, you're by yourself and you're eating your lunch, you can always use that. I mentioned the PT Cruiser did that too, and I really like that feature, so I'm glad that this had it too. I believe some of the other models don't have that feature, so it's nice that this one does. The XLT model did come with the cloth seats, or else it would have been vinyl. I will admit that the XL model is very, very basic. Anything you add to it is additional, obviously, compared to what this has, like the cloth seats, like the nicer radio. Now, like I mentioned, this isn't the standard AM/FM radio. This has the CD, which plays MP3s, and it also has a slot in here for an auxiliary port and for an MP3, you know, player plug-in via USB, which is nice. You can see I have a USB stick plugged in here right now. And once you have that plugged in, you can actually voice command the whole thing. So you could tell it, like, play this album, or play music by this artist, or play the specific track, or, you know, you get the idea. It's a really nice thing to have. I did mention this is a 6-speed transmission. You can actually put it down to S, which is sport mode, and then you can use the up and down here to select your gear. So it's kind of nice. It has that whole manual mode. let's see what else I could point out to you. There is a center information screen here, which will show you, your miles per gallon, miles to empty. There's 2 different trip odometers. You can actually have a timer on it, so you not only see how far you went, but how long it took you. A whole slew of things. The whole car information system's there. How much the oil life you have, the whole 9 yards. When I picked it up, I laughed at the dealer and said, this car goes up to 140. My Mustang went to 140 too, but will this actually go that fast? I don't know, nor do I actually want to try it. I just don't feel like you should be driving that fast in a work van. I think that's kind of ludicrous, but nonetheless, the speedometer goes up that high, so if someone actually got theirs that high, I would really laugh. It's just your standard switches on here. I'll put the hazard lights on so you can actually hear. It doesn't have like a click relay like most cars does. It has like just this electronic beeping noise, which leads me to believe everything's completely electronic in this. There's no mechanical, switches and stuff like that. One thing I did notice, there's no manual way to lock the doors. Everything's power locks, which was kind of strange. It's the first car I've ever had that had that. You can see in the door, there are no actuators of any sort. What there is instead is a little light on the dash here that lights up to let you know all the doors are locked, which was kind of neat. Another thing that was kind of neat was these buttons here activate whatever it says on the screen, just like a cell phone would. So sometimes it says like end and send, so you can use this for end, that for send. You get the idea. There was 2 upgrades radio wise. The next one up from this had the HD radio, Sirius XM kind of thing going on, and then the one beyond that one was a touchscreen radio. Really more than I needed. The touchscreen had navigation with it, which I guess was the nicest part about it, but if you know anything about me, this thing's going to probably get changed at some point in this life of this truck, and I'll put some kind of a nice aftermarket radio on this thing. But then again, I kind of like this stock radio. I like the options that it has. It does only have 4 speakers. 1 being in the door, which is obviously your woofer, and then your tweeter up in the corner, and that's it. Just those 2 on the driver and passenger side, nothing at all in the back. You can see down here we have your standard light switch. You can dim the dash. You have your fog light button, and the middle position here actually does have daytime running lights. They are not automatic. A lot of reviews point out the steering wheel is really nice. It has this leather wrap on it, and it's bolstered here, and it is not super cushy, but it's not hard plastic either. And I know a lot of people they do point out everything in here is hard plastic except for these little pieces on the door, which are a little soft. I got some tools in here, my Leatherman and my Maglite. Those are kind of my trusty tools. I am going to get clips for the Maglite so it mounts nice in the back, or maybe might spring for the rechargeable Maglite that could just clip in and charge. That's again part of the whole electronics upgrade I'm thinking of doing. There's a little spot up in the dash there. You can, throw stuff again like a pair of gloves or whatever. I wouldn't really put anything hard up there. You can see the windshield on this thing is huge. And pictures do no justice for this. Even on the camera right now, I can't even show you, but I can't even reach the front window up here. It's very deep. And actually, right before I shot this, I was trying to watch a couple of reviews on YouTube just to see what other people said about it. And this is more of a walkthrough video. I'm not going to, start this thing up and drive around the block and do all that fun stuff. There are plenty of other people that did that. But what I did notice is the European version of this car has some major differences. First of all, they don't have an automatic transmission in it. They have a manual transmission. They use a diesel engine. Obviously, the steering wheel is on the other side of the car, but they have bench seats up front. And this is a little different. Up here in the front, you can actually fit 3 different people, which I thought was kind of neat. I guess I could pop the hood and show you up underneath there. And let me go do that. I'll pop the hood and I'll be right with you. And here she is. Now, I've been under the hood of many different vehicles, and so far, this doesn't seem terribly cramped. I could tell you the PT Cruiser was kind of a nightmare to work on, but I can actually, get my hand back there and get to different things. This does have the individual coil on plug. That's actually what the Mustang had on it, so I'm familiar with that system. This particular car did come with the engine block heater, which is under this cap. You just plug it into an extension cord. I initially was going to get that when I priced the vehicle up, but then I decided, you know, it wasn't really important. It doesn't get super cold in this area, so I didn't want to get it. But, you know, when I found out I had to get a vehicle that was already done, this had it with it, so it wasn't like I could have it taken out at that point. So it's there. I'm sure in the coldest days I'll use it. But for now, you know, I don't really need it. Like I said, it does have the molded colored bumper, which I liked a lot better than the XL model, which was just the black plastic. You do have one fuse box right here. The other one is under the glove box for the passenger, you know, compartment. And really, there isn't a whole lot more to show about this. I'll just give it a quick walk around here, and you know, there does have the little side blinkers there, which I thought was neat, but again, that's a nod to the European market. The center mount antenna, which looks nice. Some of the models have a colored molding piece on the side here, whereas this particular one didn't. Depends on, I guess, what market you pick it up in. Of course, these things always vary by location. And really, that's about it. I can step up in here. Of course, I'm on my knees. There's plenty of spots to mount things. Sorry for the echo in here, but you can expect it does echo. You can get a closer look at the bins, and you can see there's the little slots for the dividers. Another thing I'll note about these is I believe this was the side that had the bins on it. So there were 4 bins here and then 5 dividers up on top. Of course, you know, the shelves are the same on both sides, so you can really put them wherever you want. And the shelves are adjustable. So no major issue there with that. But when I initially looked at it, this side with the shelves didn't have the dividing top on it. So again, I guess, you know, models vary. Hopefully I can get the whole thing resolved with what I'm owed or not. So at least I'll know the answer. Mounting, it was just simply mounted up here. There's a bracket in the front and a bracket in the back, and it just screws into the floor, nothing special. On the floor, originally underneath this bolt, there was a big D-ring, and there was one there. There still is one under here, and then in the back there's the metal one right there, so you could use those for tie down points. I have read online that you can put a piece of a 4x8 piece of plywood or sheetrock in here without any issue. I want to say the towing capacity on this thing is 2,000 pounds and the cargo capacity is 1,620 pounds, which is good enough for me. I'm not going to plan on putting any more weight in that than that, honestly. But I will be doing some modifications to this, like I mentioned. LED light strip right here in this middle. I'm going to bring it out and just have one big continuous strip right down the side, possibly tying it into that existing light. That's one of the reasons why I didn't go with the LED light, because I was going to do this anyway, and as you can see, it's not really effective because it's being blocked by the shelves. And yeah, I don't really have much more to show about this particular vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and button it up and call this video quits. Once I have something else to report, of course, I'll have another video on it. The particular fire extinguisher here I got, I'll point that out, I got from AutoZone. It was like 25 bucks plus tax, obviously. Comes with the mounting bracket, metal hardware, you know, the whole 9 yards. And that's what I really wanted. Something that was going to be, you know, safe for a vehicle. 6-year warranty on it, which is nice. Made in the USA, which I like. It's probably one of the only made in USA pieces in this vehicle. I want to say the main vehicle is made in Spain. I think the transmission, from what I read, was made in France, and I don't remember where the engine was made, but it's somewhere over there. Germany, maybe. I'll have all that down in the description, as I mentioned. Yeah, this about sums it up. Well, I want to thank you for watching my videos. I've actually climbed to that 50 subscriber mark that I've been, trying to get to. The 100 subscriber mark, of course, is my goal for the end of the year. And being that it's March and I'm at the 50 mark, that's excellent. If you're not already a subscriber, I would appreciate if you do that. If you are a subscriber, thank you for sticking around and thank you for your subscription. I really do appreciate that. I would also like you to either like or dislike the videos that I post. If you do decide to dislike the video, I'd appreciate it if you leave some kind of a comment on why you disliked it. That's going to help me improve and become a better YouTuber, because that's ultimately what I'd like to do. Of course, these videos are ancillary to the whole Paletti Technical Services business concept, but so far from the comments that I've received from people, they've been beneficial to me. They've helped me learn things that I didn't necessarily know or kind of overlooked as I've explained them. And that's, how the community of YouTube works. We help each other out in any way we can, and I do appreciate that. And well, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next video.